So by the end of this video, as long as you just pay attention, you will know exactly what sounds to use when and how to pick out the best sounds. So first up, we have the first sound. It's one of the most important because it's going to determine the other sounds you use throughout your beat. If it's a beat based off of a particular song, just listen to that song and whatever's the most common sound, go with that. Now, if you're going for a specific kind of vibe, then you just want to find an instrument that fits that vibe. So maybe you're making a sad beat. Maybe start with a dark kind of sad sounding piano. You're trying to make something that's futuristic and spacey, start with like a unique synth sound. If you want something that's really ambient, maybe start with a pad or something like that. Now, once you have the sound picked out that kind of fits your vibe, you're still not even able to make it sound remotely like you want it to sound here. What your issue might be is just how you're arranging your chords or your notes. So let me just give you some examples of things you can do for a very common style of beats. If you want to make some sort of like dark kind of trap sounding beat or just any dark beat in general, you're going to want a very simple and repetitive pattern. Something like this works fine. And if you want to make an R&B beats, pop beats, or like electronic type beats, you're probably going to want to use bigger, fuller sounding chords, something like this. And if you want to make something that's a bit more upbeat and fast paced, you might just chop up those chords. And just remember here, whatever sound you start with right here, and just any sound in general, you can always change it. Like I used to just start every beat with a piano and then change it once I had something down that I liked. So that's an option as well. Now this is really where things start to fall apart for everyone, and it's probably ended multiple music producer careers before they even started, and that's adding an additional sound. And there's a few ways you're going to want to add an additional sound when you're making a beat. 1, layering, and 2, counter melodies. And so for layering your sounds, your real focus here is to kind of add what's missing to your beat. So for example, maybe the first instrument you laid down doesn't sound full enough. Here you just want to add a sound that's maybe a bit deeper. Just add a bass line. Now let's say it sounds like a little bit too dark and you want to liven things up a little bit. Then just add something with some higher frequency sounds. Now let's say it's a little bit too kind of spacey and ambient and you want something to kind of pull the sound back in. Then you could use some sort of a pluck sound, some sort of a key sound, a guitar, etc. Just something so at the start of when the sound plays, it has a little bit more impact. Now let's say your sound just sounds a bit stale. There's not enough movement. And this is something I like to do even after I've already layered maybe 2 sounds together. You can just add something like an art. Now for your counter melodies, what I mentioned about layering is pretty much going to apply to this as well. The big difference here is, you're not using the exact same notes, and you can kind of be more specific about the parts you want to maybe add some brightness. So maybe you have a dark sounding chord progression like this. And then you just add a couple notes with a brighter sound, and it gives a contrast between the darkness and the brightness. Feel free to subscribe. Also, album is on the way. Now, most likely, the VSTs you do have probably have hundreds, if not thousands of sounds. And honestly, it can be a pain to sort through everything to find the exact sounds that you want to use. But one thing that has helped me personally is using banks. Because you don't have to sort through hundreds of sounds to find sounds that sound good and that you're actually going to want to use. If you guys watch my videos, you already know I use all of my banks in all of my videos. And if you don't believe me, feel free to go and watch every single one of my videos all the way through to the end. And like and comment on it as well. Maybe share with a friend. Alright, so last and honestly this might be the most important thing I showed you guys today. Actually getting your sounds to fit better using free effects that are in every DAW. So first thing, this is a massively powerful tool, is just an EQ. An EQ is great for making things fit a bit better together or just kind of altering a sound completely on its own. So one thing that you can do is if you want something to sound darker, just cut out some of the highs. Now, if you want to make room for your bass and your 808s, boom, just cut out some of the low end just like right here. It's going to make it sound and fit a lot better. And maybe you just have two sounds that you really like, but they're maybe clashing a little bit in the mids or the highs. And all you really need to do there is get the sound you like the least. Might be hard to choose, but you gotta do it. And you just add a little dip where the frequencies are clashing. Now, another great tool to make things fit together is maybe one of your sounds is sounding a little bit too harsh. Just add a little bit of reverb. It's gonna soften it up a little bit and kind of melt it into the other sound a bit more. If you need a sound to stick out more, just use some distortion. Fruity distortion works great, or whatever distortion plugin you might have. Now, sound selection is very important, but so is learning from the GOATs. So check out this video.